You've had your Dachshund for a while now. You feed them, walk them, buy them toys, let them steal your pillow. But here's something most owners never stop to ask. Has your Dachshund actually bonded with you? Not just tolerated you, not just associated you with food, but genuinely, deeply bonded with you the way Dachshunds are capable of doing. Because here's the thing about this breed. Dachshunds don't bond with everyone. They're selective, stubborn, a little suspicious of the world. And when one of these dogs decides that you are their person, they show it in ways that are completely unique to who they are. Not in the ways a Labrador would, not in the ways a Golden Retriever would, in Dachshund ways. And if you don't know what to look for, you'll miss it entirely. So in this video, we're going over 14 specific signs that your Dachshund has bonded with you. Not generic dog signs, Dachshund signs. Some of them are obvious, some of them are going to surprise you. Let's get into it. Number 1, they burrow against you, not just near you. Dachshunds were bred for one purpose, to go underground and hunt burrowing animals. That instinct didn't disappear when they became house pets. It just redirected, and where your Dachshund chooses to burrow tells you everything about who they trust. A Dachshund that hasn't fully bonded with you will still burrow, under blankets, into couch cushions, behind pillows. But a bonded Dachshund doesn't just burrow anywhere, they burrow against you specifically. They'll tunnel under the blanket to get to the spot where your legs are. They'll wedge themselves between your back and the couch. They want the warmth of the blanket and the warmth of you at the same time. That combination, that's the bond. If your Dachshund bypasses every other cozy spot in the house to get to the one next to your body, that's not coincidence, that's trust. Number 2, their greeting for you is dramatically different. Most dogs get excited when people come home, but pay close attention to the difference between how your Dachshund greets you versus how they greet other people, even people they like. A bonded Dachshund's greeting for their person is in a different category entirely. The whole body gets involved. The back end wiggles independent of the front end. There's often a sound, somewhere between a bark, a whine, and a yodel, that they don't make for anyone else. Some Dachshunds will run laps. Some will grab a toy immediately, not to play, but because they're so overwhelmed they need something to do with their mouth. This is a breed-specific emotional response, and it's reserved for the person they're bonded to. If other people get a tail wag and a sniff, but you get the full-body production, that gap in reaction is the bond showing itself. Number 3, they do the lean with their whole body. Dachshunds are long dogs, and a bonded Dachshund will use all of that length against you, literally. Watch for the full body lean, where your dog presses the entire side of their body against your leg and just stays there. They're not asking for something, they're not trying to herd you, they're making contact because contact with you is where they want to be. This is different from nudging or bumping. The lean is sustained, it's deliberate. It's your Dachshund communicating through pressure. I'm here, you're here, this is good. A dog that's bonded to you wants to maintain physical connection in quiet moments, not just exciting ones. The lean happens when nothing is happening. That's exactly why it matters. Number 4, they track your movement without following you. Here's one most people overlook. A bonded Dachshund doesn't always need to follow you from room to room. Sometimes the bond shows up differently, as awareness, as monitoring. You'll notice your Dachshund lifting their head every time you shift position. They track you across the room with their eyes without getting up. They reposition themselves on the couch so they can see the doorway you walked through. They always seem to know exactly where you are, even when they're pretending to be asleep. This is a Dachshund being vigilant about their person. It comes from the same watchdog instinct that makes them bark at strangers, except in this case, what they're watching is you, because you matter to them. You are the variable they keep track of. Number 5, they vocalize at you specifically. Dachshunds talk. Not all dogs do this, but Dachshunds are remarkably vocal, and a bonded one will have a whole vocabulary that they use specifically with you. There's the whine when they want your attention. There's the low grumble when they're content but mildly inconvenienced. There's the sharp yip when you've been gone too long. There's a sound, almost a howl, almost a moan, that some Dachshund owners call the drama bark, which comes out when they feel ignored by you, and only you. If your dachshund is relatively quiet around other people, but turns into a whole conversation partner around you, that's the bond. They've learned that you listen. They've learned that communicating with you is worth the effort. That trust, that expectation that you'll respond, is what a bond produces. Number 6, they guard you even from other pets. Dachshunds were bred to work independently in tunnels. They're naturally territorial, and a bonded dachshund will extend that territorial behavior specifically to you, which means they'll guard your space even from animals they otherwise get along with. You might notice your dachshund positioning themselves between you and another dog in the house during calm moments, or gently but firmly inserting themselves when another pet is getting attention from you, or curling up right on top of you in a way that clearly signals this space is occupied. This isn't aggression, it's resource guarding, and in this case, you are the resource. They've decided you belong to them. That possessiveness, when it's gentle, is one of the purest signs of a dachshund bond. Number 7, they relax fully in your presence. Dachshunds have a particular way of sleeping when they feel completely safe, completely limp, belly exposed, paws loose, often making small sounds. It's what owners sometimes call the dead dog sleep. It looks alarming the first time you see it. Pay attention to when your dachshund sleeps like this. If it only happens when you're in the room or when they're physically on or near you, that's telling you something. Dachshunds are naturally alert dogs. Their instinct is to stay semi-aware, ready. The fact that they shut all of that off around you means their nervous system trusts you completely. Full relaxation is something dachshunds give away easily. If you're getting it, you've earned it. Number 8, they bring you toys without wanting to play. This one confuses a lot of owners. Your dachshund grabs a toy, walks over to you, drops it in your lap or at your feet, and then just stands there or walks away. They didn't want a game of tug. They didn't want fetch. So what was that? It's an offering. It's a gift. Dogs generally don't bring objects to members of their group unless they trust them deeply. Your dachshund isn't playing, they're sharing. They found something they value, and you are the one they chose to share it with. Some dachshunds do this every single time their owner comes home, bringing the same toy to the same person every day. If that's happening in your house, don't brush it off. It's a significant expression of attachment. Number 9, they do the periscope for you. Dachshunds have very short legs relative to their body length. When they want to see something above their eye level, or when they desperately want to get closer to a person's face, they rear up on their back legs like a little meerkat. This is the periscope, and it takes real effort for a dachshund to hold that position. Watch who triggers the periscope. A bonded dachshund does this with you when you're sitting and they want to be at your face level, when they're trying to close the distance between your eyes and yours. It's an act of wanting closeness. It's them solving the physical problem of not being tall enough to reach you. The fact that they bother to solve it at all, that desire to get closer to your face specifically, is the bond making itself visible. Number 10, their eating habits are tied to your presence. This one runs counter to what most people expect, because dachshunds have a reputation as food-obsessed dogs, and they are. But a deeply bonded dachshund will sometimes refuse to eat, or eat reluctantly when you're not around, even if the food is exactly what they normally love. If your dog has ever waited to eat until you came back in the room, or shown notable disinterest in meals when you were away for a day, this is what's happening. Food is important to them, but you've become important in a way that temporarily overrides it. That's a significant statement from a breed that's notorious for thinking about food almost constantly. You outrank the food. That's the bond. Number 11, they mirror your emotional state. Dachshunds are emotionally sensitive dogs. They were bred to work closely with humans, to read cues, to respond. And a bonded dachshund will start to mirror you in ways that are striking once you notice them. When you're stressed, your dachshund gets restless or clingy. When you're sad, they get quiet and press against you. When you laugh, they get animated. When you're calm and reading, they settle. This isn't a coincidence of timing. This is your dog reading your body language, your tone of voice, and your energy, and adjusting their own behavior to match it. A dog that isn't bonded to you doesn't do this. They do their own thing. The mirroring only happens when your dog is paying close enough attention to you for long enough that they've learned your patterns. That level of attention is what love looks like in a dog. Number 12. They choose your scent when you're not there. You may have noticed your dachshund gravitates toward your worn clothing when you're out of the house. They'll sleep on your unwashed shirt. They'll curl up on your side of the bed. They'll drag a piece of your laundry to their sleeping spot. This is a dachshund self-soothing, using the one thing that represents you most reliably, your smell. Dogs navigate the world primarily through scent, and to a bonded dog, your scent means safety, comfort, and home. They're not just resting on your shirt because it happened to be on the floor. They specifically seek it out. If you test this by leaving an unworn item next to a worn one, a bonded dachshund will go to the worn one every time. That preference is the bond in its most fundamental form. Number 13. They make eye contact with you during uncertain moments. Dachshunds are confident dogs in their own territory, but put them somewhere new, a vet's office, a park, a friend's house, and watch where they look when they feel uncertain. A bonded dachshund looks at you. This is called social referencing, and it's the same behavior human infants use with their caregivers. Your dog is looking to your face for information. Is this safe? Should I be worried? What do you think about this? The fact that they turn to you in those moments means you have become their anchor, their source of information about the world. A dog that looks to their owner during uncertainty has handed that person an enormous amount of trust. If your dachshund's eyes find yours when things feel strange, you are their safe place. Number 14. They physically seek you out after something frightens them. This last one is perhaps the most telling. Dachshunds are proud, stubborn dogs. They don't ask for help easily. So when something scares them, a loud noise, a startling experience, a confrontation with another dog, and their first instinct is to come directly to you, that's not just habit, that's a decision. Your dachshund is choosing in a moment of real vulnerability to go to you rather than handle it alone or seek comfort somewhere else. They've mapped you as the safest place available to them. This takes time to develop. It takes consistency, patience, and a track record of being trustworthy in their eyes. If your dachshund runs to you when they're scared, if you are the place they go when the world feels like too much, the bond between you is deep and real. Call to action. So there they are, 14 signs that your dachshund has genuinely bonded with you. And here's what I want you to take away from this. The dachshund bond is not flashy. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's a lean. Sometimes it's a glance from across the room. Sometimes it's a dog choosing your shirt over everything else in the house to sleep on. But when it's there, it's one of the most loyal, devoted things a dog is capable of giving. If you recognized your dog in most of these signs, you have something worth protecting. Keep being consistent with them. Keep showing up, because dachshunds don't bond quickly, and they don't bond lightly. And if yours has chosen you, that means you've done something right. Drop in the comments how many of these signs your dachshund shows. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe. We post regularly for dog owners who actually want to understand their dogs, not just live with them. We'll see you in the next one.